Today on Beyond the Sport, we're welcoming a young lady whom I've had the opportunity to watch grow up here in Brock, Texas. I attended church with her as she was a young girl and watched her enthusiastically sing and dance on the stage with her mom. I have now been able to watch her for a couple years on the sidelines of the Brock Eagles football team, cheering them on, as well as basketball. And pretty soon they're going to state finals to compete. Presley is a young lady who knew that she wanted to be a cheerleader from a young age. And she's also using that platform just to show others what it is to be a follower of Jesus and share Jesus when she has the opportunity. She's a very, very joyous, joy-filled young lady who is very positive and energetic. And many of you might be thinking, why cheerleading? That's not a sport. But from what I've seen, it's very much a sport. It requires a lot of athleticism. She is on a team full of young ladies that know how to tumble and do flips and handsprings. And you almost need to do that these days just to get on a cheerleading team. Her bubbly spirit is probably what got her on that team. She is an amazing person to watch and loves getting the crowd involved in whatever is going on that she's cheering for. And through cheerleading, she has the opportunity to be a role model for somebody who follows Jesus. Matter of fact, she is called the Jesus Girl. And today, we would like to welcome the Jesus Girl, Presley Youngblood, to our show. Presley Youngblood, welcome to the L4 Media Studios for Beyond the Sport.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
I am so excited for this interview because you're a person I've watched grow up in church. I used to remember seeing you on stage with your mom, singing and dancing and doing all the stuff that the little younger kids would do. And now you're in high school.
Yes.
And you're on the cheer team. So that's an active sport. People don't, the more I've watched cheer, the more I've learned it's an active sport.
Very much.
It's changed over the years from just standing out there and cheering the team on to you have to be a gymnast.
Yes,
to do it, so it's pretty hard. And you're an exceptional artist.
Yes, I am.
So I've had the pleasure of seeing your stuff, including at Dr. Kate's office.
Oh,
so yeah,
yes.
And you have a proud grandpa who posts your pictures on the internet.
Yes, all the time. Yes.
So, but yeah, I just welcome. And today I just want to talk to you about your faith as in your life and how cheer and your faith mesh and how sometimes they don't, and how you work your way through that every day as you go out there, because football's over, but cheerleading's not over.
Yes.
So you guys are going to be moving on. So let's start at the beginning.
All right.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. You grew up here in Brock.
Yes.
And you've always been in the church. When did you know that you wanted to accept Jesus?
So, like you said, I have been at Brock since kindergarten, ever since the beginning. And when I was at VBS at Brock Baptist, I just felt the Lord in a way that I can't even describe, because I know a lot of other Christians, whenever they feel the Lord, it's just a feeling that just feels so good. And I just had the feeling, like, go talk to my youth leader and go tell her, like, you want to be saved. And I just had, like, an urge, and so I went to go talk to her, and we just went to a separate room, and me and my mom started bawling our eyes out, and it was just like the Holy Spirit was in this room, and it was just such an amazing feeling. And I was about 9 years old, and I just really felt him, and that's pretty much.
I pretty much remember you being about 9 years old. Yes. So I'm thinking maybe Miss Judy was the person.
Oh, yes. Miss Judy, I love her so much.
Yes. She, side note, is back in Brock.
I know, I saw her the other day.
Isn't that awesome?
Yes.
So you became a Christian, pretty much accepted Christ in your heart, and you've come from a family of strong faith. So I believe you are probably one of the ones that are fortunate enough that when you accepted Christ, you did have people not only to model it for you, but to pour into you and help you grow. So you didn't just walk the aisle and next day was just back to life as it was.
Yes.
So who's poured into you the most, do you think? Like, is it your mom, your grandparents?
Well, my mom has obviously been such a tremendous help in my growth and my walk with Jesus, but I think my whole family in whole, my grandparents, my dad, and my brother especially, because they all help me and they always root me on. If I'm going through something that's really hard in my life, they know that they tell me that Jesus is always there for me and that I don't need to worry. Like it says in Philippians 4:6, don't worry about anything, but instead pray about everything. So I think my family and my mom have just really helped me through that.
Yeah. So when did you know that you wanted to be a cheerleader?
Well, I've always just, whenever we were little and used to go to the pep rallies up at the high school, I've just always seen the cheerleaders down there, and I just always wanted to be one of them. And I've done cheer ever since you really could do cheer. And I've been known as that person with always the smile on their face.
That is true. That is true.
And just the peppiness and the preppy and just always like, oh my gosh. And so, yeah, that's pretty much, I've always wanted to be one.
Yeah, because I know here, the little girls are not even in school and they've got cheerleading outfits. Were you one of those little girls?
I'm pretty sure I was. Yes, I have tons of photos of me posing with my
cheerleading outfits until you get to the point where, hey, I am a cheerleader.
Yes.
And I've had the opportunity. I am a long-time resident of Brock, but not an old-timer, long-time resident of Brock.
Yes.
But I've watched the school grow, and I've watched the cheer team grow from about 5 people to now I think you have to try out for the squad.
Yes, you do.
Wow.
Yes, and some people do get cut, unfortunately. But yeah, it's big enough to where we have almost 30 cheerleaders.
Yeah, there's a lot of you now, and you're doing tricks, like aerial tricks, flips and baskets and whatever they're called.
Yes.
So it's been amazing to see the cheer team evolve from just a couple people, and now you're kind of where you wanted to be when you were that little girl. You're on the pep rally floor,
Yes.
and I see you at the games, and you're always smiling and having a good time. Yes. So, what do you really like about the cheer team? I mean, like about cheering in general?
Well, I just love that we get to be on the field and get to cheer on our team, and the teammates, and the way that we always have grit and to also force into like competition. We're always a team, even though we may go through rough times and different things. But I just love just the peppiness that it brings, and like making the crowd happy and making them cheer with you, and especially being a role model to the little kids.
Yes.
It's kind of surreal to think that I was them looking up to me, and it's just crazy that it's like, oh my gosh, you're Brock cheerleader, and you're like, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and those little girls do look up. They dress the part. They're at the fence line in the stands doing the cheer moves with you girls. So that's quite a big thing to take on, having to be a role model for these little girls. So what is something that helps you stay on the positive side of being a role model for these girls, being a good influence for them versus someone who could let them down? Because I mean, we can all let people down.
Yes. I think definitely social media has to do with a lot of that, because I know the little ones might not have social media, but like the older ones, I know a lot of little kids have phones now. And so just the way you portray yourself on social media without like, personally, I don't cuss. And so posting things that are cussing or sexual orientated, anything that has to do with that, I think it has to do tremendously with being a role model, and also just the way you treat others as well. Because if they see you cussing someone out or talk to someone in a very ugly way, they're going to be like, oh, I thought she was that Brock cheerleader that was just amazing, but she's talking to someone like that. So I think that has to do a lot with being a role model.
So it kind of keep that in the back of your mind, so that you don't fall into that category, hopefully.
Yes.
So definitely. I can't say I've ever seen you be rude, but
well, yes.
But I mean, we've all got that ability. So, but I think it's different when you are a role model, and it's interesting that you're looking at yourself being that way, because you are to those little girls who you once were. So it's good that you recognize that and keep that in your mind and stuff with that. So we've been in cheer. Football's over, but cheer isn't. You've got basketball now,
Yes.
and so cheer season keeps on going. Any competitions coming up?
Yes, we actually have our state UIL competition January 4th. And
That's coming right up.
Yes, it's very soon. And our routine's looking pretty good, and I'm excited to show it to everybody. But yeah, we have just one last competition, and it's basketball.
All basketball. Well, I'll probably see you at the basketball game.
Oh,
then.
yeah, totally.
Taking photos for the media company. But
Yes.
That'll be awesome. So you grew up wanting to be a cheerleader. You've grown up in the church. Let's talk about meshing the two parts of your life. High school's a challenging time. There's a lot of peer pressure. And as this community has grown, things have been changing, and you see different groups come and go as people have also left. Do you see any challenges between your faith and some of the stuff that goes on for cheerleading in general? Not specifically any person or team, but I mean, as cheerleaders, you go to other competitions and other schools and whatnot and see other teams' routines. And is there anything that you see as a challenge for you in your walk?
Well, it's definitely hard being a Christian in this world today, because everything is like social media, everything's about partying, drinking, everything like that. And so, yeah, it is hard because sometimes I do get left out of things because I'm the Jesus girl. I'm the holy girl, the Bible girl, the innocent girl who doesn't know anything. But, sometimes it's really challenging because people won't include you in their cliques, like you said, like the little groups that high school is known for, and so, yeah, it is hard, but I just know Jesus is there for me. And honestly, I've taken it as a compliment to be called the Jesus girl, because they know that that knows that I'm doing something right, and that they know that I love Jesus and that I want to spread the gospel.
Just by your actions,
yes.
how you handle yourself.
Yes, and so it's gotten a lot better over the years, because now since I'm moving up in high school, we're the bigger.
Yeah, you're not the lower class man anymore.
Yeah, yes, definitely. And so, yeah, that does help.
Yeah, I can imagine, the challenges of not being in some of the social groups, but I'm sure you've got your own social group where people do support you and value your values.
Yes.
And there's people that like you even though they don't value your values, and then there's the people that'll probably never want anything to do with you because you're that girl. But I think that holds to character, that you're standing firm in your character and still putting Jesus out there and not caving in and saying, well, okay, today I won't be the Jesus girl, so that way I can go be friends with them. Yeah. But they know that they know you're the Jesus girl, so that's right there. There's somewhere they don't know it, but there's this connection.
Yes.
And as the girl that's always smiling, things may not always be right in your life, but I'm guessing, just like the rest of us, you've got challenges and disappointments and hurts, but you're always joyful.
Yes.
Because, as Paul talks about having the joy.
Yes, only comes from Jesus, so.
Exactly. So, maybe someday these other people will kind of discover that. That's why you were still able to stay happy and keep going and not let it get you down just to be part of that. What is a thing about putting the two together that you have that is just so amazing for you, that you have Jesus and you have cheer together, and that it just maybe one makes the other easier to do, or one brings more excitement to the other?
So being a Brock cheerleader, also like being a Brock football player, you're like known around Brock. You're like, oh my gosh, you're that Brock football player cheerleader. And so it does make spreading the gospel a lot easier, because when you walk down the hallways or when you have Instagram or TikTok, it's really easy to talk about it, because a lot of people know you and they know of you, or they're your friends, or they're on the same team with you even. And it makes it really easy to talk about Jesus because you're surrounded with a lot of people that know of you.
Do you ever get that opportunity to talk about Jesus with girls in your cheer group, like before a game or during a game or practice or just any random time,
Yes, I definitely get to. Like at our last competition, I was able to pray for the team. I'm kind of like, I don't know if I'm like the designated one, but I get to, I don't know, but
we'll let the Jesus girl do it.
I usually get to pray for the team and like hopefully that we can do good and that God has a plan for us. And yeah, and basically I'm always that girl. They're like, Presley, pray. Hopefully that we will get this point. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll pray. And then I also get to give people, if they're struggling with something and they talk to me about it, I'm always able to be there and be like, it's okay. God's got you. God's got a plan. We all go through things. I know I'm that Jesus girl. I know I always have that smile on my face, but God's got me. And I do go through hard stuff.
Yeah. And, you're lucky, you have a place to turn. You can turn to God and pray. You can ask Jesus for that guidance. You've got a very spiritual blessing in your mom for sure. And I'm sure you're very good friends with her. As you get older and you walk together and you start sharing stuff as you get older, your relationship with your mom changes in life. And you become friends. So you've also got that support. So that's really, really awesome to have. And your mom also works within the school.
Yes.
So for you, it's easy to track down. Not that anybody's too hard to track down here in Brock, but so you get to share. Now, the girls that ask you to pray, are some of them just thinking, we'll have Presley pray for this point, but not realizing that might not be part of God's plan. They just they don't know if they believe in that you're praying, but just if you pray, it's going to happen. And you know what I mean?
Yes, I definitely think that sometimes it's like that because I know some girls that aren't really involved in the church and might not understand like the full thing of prayer and how it's so powerful. But it's kind of like, oh yeah, Presley, pray, like.
And that just because you pray doesn't mean you're going to get it.
No, it's God's plan.
It's God's plan. You have to kind of roll with it sometimes, and it can be hard. Of course, he never said it would be easy. I mean, they even persecuted his son, so why are we to be spared?
Literally, yeah.
So for us, this hardship is nothing. But for a lot of people, and they're in the moment, not realizing, especially in high school, that this moment's only this big in your life, and God, eternity, there's no other way to put it. It's forever.
Yes.
So with this Christian walk you have, you were talking about sometimes you are left out of the groups and stuff, but I do see that majority of the time that you girls get along, but it is a group of girls.
Yes.
Been down that road. I remember going down it with my daughter. She's an anti-drama queen. She does not like drama. And I can't imagine there being more drama than on a cheerleading team at times. Remember last year in the stands, I saw some of the moms and I just went, ooh, this is going to be interesting. But, when it comes down to it, you're on the team with the girls.
Yes.
And I can imagine that there is drama and clashing of personalities. And, you got, like you said, 30 girls. You're not all on the same personality page. And how do you handle that?
Well, definitely there is, like you said, sometimes there's a lot of drama. And sometimes you can't even handle it because it's just one girl said this, but then it's like opposite of that, and then that girl said it. It's mind-boggling. So I try my best to stay out of it because I know every girl struggles with gossiping. That's a big thing, and also it says in the Bible not to gossip, and to treat others like you love them and like they're your brother and sister in Christ. But sometimes it does get tough.
You ever want to just lash out?
Yes, I want to be like, what in the world's happening?
Yeah,
but I try to pray and know that God's got this, because sometimes it does involve me because we're all a team together.
Yes.
So it always gets blamed on one person or something like that.
And if it's about you, you gotta try to remember that God knows the truth and will see you through it. And that can be hard.
And try to be slow to anger like God is. Like, it's really hard sometimes. Because you're just like, oh, why?
Yeah. It can be, I can imagine, challenging. I was very fortunate when my daughter ran track. They were a very close-knit group of girls, especially the 4-mile relay team, the 2 relay teams. They were all kind of really close. And luckily for us, even the moms, there was no drama. We were just all
supportive of each other's kids and each other. And I felt very blessed, especially after, some of the stuff I see with other sports with drama and just how lucky we were. And I just, like I said, just go back. It's a group of girls in their teens, all wanting to look pretty, all wanting to look popular. And I think for most girls, no matter what your walk is, you kind of want some of that because you don't want to be left out or be the lone one. But you said, sometimes you are, and but you've got Jesus to look back on. And so you got a couple girls on the team that you just tend to hang out with the most, or?
Well,
I don't need names. I just meant are there, not who they are, but are there?
Yes, there is. But sometimes if they're not there at practice, there's usually just like a couple of them. But if they're not there at practice, I sometimes just go to practice, cheer, don't really talk to anybody, and then leave. Yeah. Because they don't really want to talk to me sometimes. And so sometimes it is a struggle, like you said, but I get over it and know that I do have a very strong group of friends that I hang out with that aren't on the cheer team. And also youth group helps out a lot at my church that I go to now. And I do have a very good friend group that is very strong and have a great firm foundation on Jesus. So knowing that cheer is just this much in my life, that having these friends are going to be worthwhile and that I don't need to worry about all that kind of stuff.
That's an amazing viewpoint to have, just to keep that in mind, because that is true as, you get older. Each part is just a little phase. And as long as you remember your foundation when you get there, and it's great that you have that foundation of even youth that are not part of our school as well, because I know where you go to church, there's youth that come in from other schools as well.
Yes.
So that probably makes a big difference for you.
It does help because you get to meet those new people and they're not from school. So you get to start off on a new page. Because they don't know you as that Jesus girl who, even though, because you're at church.
They're all supposed to be those Jesus girls or guys. So,
they're supposed to. But, it's really fun to get to know new people that aren't from Brock or from, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So. Do you feel that your walk with Christ during a cheer, whether it's practice or a game or the bus ride, that you have a positive influence in your environment? I mean, you said you got, there's some people that hang out with you and some that don't because you're the Jesus girl, but do you feel that your walk with that you've stayed so strong in that, that people have noticed and maybe they're taking notice, like a seed is planted or seed is being watered because of you?
Well, hopefully I'm able to be that positive impact. I know I've led some girls to Christ, and they're now growing very strong in their faith right now. And I was able to talk to them through their hard times and through things that they're going through. And I feel like I am definitely a positive outlook because I know some people have come to me, like I've said, with things that they're struggling with, or if they want to know something about Jesus, they're like, oh, was Noah on the ark or something like that? I'd be like, yeah. And so it's definitely good to be there for them, even though if they don't want to include me in things or talk to me about, girl things. I'm able always to be there for guidance about Jesus if they're struggling with something, if that's the only way.
Yeah, and then through that, they get a glimpse into what it's like to follow Jesus and have that guidance, because that's guiding you to guide them.
Yes.
And they're coming to you obviously knowing that you've got that, and that could be this watering of those seeds that eventually get them to where they need to be for salvation and their own walk. So it sounds like you're in an environment where you do have the opportunity to minister, but not necessarily minister, but present Jesus to people, or allow Jesus to be seen through you, your behavior, your talk, your walk.
Yeah, and it's definitely good that at least I get to tell them about it, or at least they know of Jesus, because they get to choose whether they want to walk with him or not. I can't change that.
They can't.
So I can't tell them you have to follow Jesus, but it's definitely good to tell people about Jesus, because then now they know.
Yeah, they can't leave the team saying they've never heard the name.
Yes, that's what so that's my goal.
Putting it out there. Well, it sounds like you're doing a really good job with that, and finding support on that from some people. Do you have problems with the parents with you bringing forth any of that, or have they all been just either no response, like not even involved or noticing, or anybody said, hey, you need to stop praying for our kids? Or it's kind of weird in this small community in Texas for people to say that, but
Yeah.
stranger things have happened.
No, I don't think there's ever been a time like that, because I feel like everyone, like, you want to say, like, you think everybody knows Jesus, but there's some people that just don't really know of it. But no, there's not really been that kind of thing that's like, oh, don't tell your kids about Jesus.
That's good, because we definitely want them to hear that. We want, the little kids to see it. We want your teammates to hear it who have not ever maybe even heard the name, and it's definitely not practiced in their household. And I think for some girls that could be, especially girls at this age, you got the image that you're a cheerleader, you've got, you want to look this way, you want to fit in this way, and ultimately, where you got to be is with God. And you find a little more peace there. Still struggle, but find some more peace. So, do you ever look at God and ascertain that He's the reason that you're on the cheer team, or that you're there for any specific reason, or if you recognize that? Or
Yes, I feel like he definitely put me on this team to be able to spread the gospel, because, like he says in the Bible, he says, go make disciples of all nations. And so that's my main goal in life. As long as I get to tell them about Jesus, or they know me as the Jesus girl, as long as I'm always there for them. And I'm able to spread the gospel, because that's my only goal in life, is to get people to heaven, because that's what God says. And eternal life is not it's not on earth, but it's in heaven with Him. So
yeah, life on earth, life in heaven.
Yes.
It's so I know where I want to spend the biggest part of my time. So now skills wise, a lot of girls are very athletically, they're doing the flips, they're doing all this. Do you have any gymnastic skills out there?
maybe cartwheel.
Okay.
Maybe a round off. I'm
Not a round off, backhand spring or whatever.
No, I'm not the tumbler girl. But stunts is kind of one of my fortes, I guess, if you'd say that. I like to be the base, or like the back spot who throws at the girls.
Yeah.
But my main thing is just being spirited and getting the crowd rallied, because I'm with, like, loving Jesus. I don't really care what other people think, so I'm able to be loud and peppy and happy, and just able to be like the spirited cheerleader that.
Well, that's your gift.
Yes.
That's your gift. So you're an encourager.
Yes.
So that's awesome. That's awesome. So going forward, you're going to go through cheer season, and eventually you're going to graduate Brock. Got any plans?
Well, like you said at the beginning, I'm an artist, and I really want to pursue that. I really want to go to TCU College in Fort Worth, and because my mom and my grandpa and my grandma are both alumni. So you
kind of got the legacy thing going there.
And so, and my grandma is actually where I got my talent from, and so she actually was a major in art at TCU. So I really want to be able to major in art there, and so I've been trying to post my artworks and stuff, and I actually name all my artworks after Bible verses. So
how neat.
Yes.
So your non-athletic side is your art, your drawing, which you're really good at, because I've seen them. And so you incorporate your belief even into your art.
Yes, because I want to I don't want to put like the actual Bible verse. I just want to put like, Psalms like 39:3 or something like that, so that people can look at it and then go to their Bible to read what it is.
And see.
And go to the Bible and open up their Bible and see what it is.
Kind of make them.
Yes.
Force them.
It's like, what is, like, why did the eagle name that? Like,
yeah.
So,
well, that's pretty awesome. Are you thinking about cheering at TCU or?
Well, that would be awesome, but I just think I want to make a living out of my artwork, so I think that's going to be my main priority when I get to college.
When you get to college. But going to TCU, you'll also have the opportunity to continue to share the gospel, considering it's a Christian campus. So maybe like a Baptist student ministry or something to that effect. So until then, you will be here cheering
Yes.
for the Eagles. How hard was that loss at state, the state semifinal?
Well, it definitely was devastating for the seniors, and especially
Yes.
for the senior cheerleaders, and thinking that there's their last time to ever cheer on a field.
Yeah.
And for them last time to play football on a team if they're not going to go to college and play it.
Yeah, which the majority of them won't.
Yes, there's only a couple of them,
yeah.
really. And so it really was devastating, and it was really hard for our team to come back to school the next day because not a lot of people showed up, and people were just, it was just kind of like a different school whenever you went that day because everybody was just like so
Everybody's
sad.
down. And
Yes, but one thing that really kept me going was knowing that God has a plan, and that if you really think about it, what if we went to state and someone got really badly hurt and could got hospitalized, and God's protecting us from that. So I always like to put that point of view in mind.
Yeah, there's I was telling you before we started recording that, I had injured myself before a race, and I have no idea why I couldn't go to that race. Yeah, I mean, obviously I did something stupid and twisted my ankle, but why? I mean, why 4 weeks out, and why was I not supposed to go? We'll never know, but yeah, God's always got a plan, and I think it works out, usually hindsight, but it works out for the best for us, even though we don't see it, but for his glory too. Because, maybe I would have went to that race and gotten in a car accident on the way there. And
exactly.
if I survived that, I would have been saying all sorts of bad words or something. Who knows? I mean, that's not very glorifying, but the salvation that we have, luckily, we know that it's supposed to glorify him and not always be easy for us.
Yeah.
And his ways are higher, and what he knows is beyond us.
It's sometimes hard to understand though, because you're like, why?
Why?
Like, why?
Yeah.
Why is this happening to me?
And I know at that state game, I did go to the state game at the end. I went to a state game, not that one. I didn't go to the 3A, but one of the coaches collapsed on the sidelines afterwards. And I just spent that whole time praying. And then until, they were able to get him up off the field and going in a wheelchair versus like in an ambulance on a gurney or anything. So I mean, lots of prayers are needed in sports. You never know what's going to happen, what the next moment might bring. Even as a cheerleader, people are like, oh, it's a cheerleader. Well, those girls are doing backflips or being tossed up in baskets, and they're having faith that y'all are under there and going to catch them.
Going to catch them, yes.
Oh, not this time.
Actually, no, I don't really feel like it.
Well, you said something mean about me.
Yeah. Don't be bad.
Yeah, I can imagine the next moments would not be good as you went through. So, your faith keeps you strong in that.
Definitely.
And the trust and everything. Is there anything you want to share forth as you go forward the next several months, next year in cheer?
Like about my God, like about how?
Yeah, just like you want to get the word out.
Yes.
You want people to know that they can come to you.
Yes. And I definitely want to tell people that, like we've said multiple times, that this is a very small part of our big life that we have. And making cheer or football or any sport the main thing in your life is sometimes it's not very good for you, because if you do lose, it just degrades yourself and really tears down yourself. But knowing that God has a plan, and knowing that God is good always, and we know we may go through really hard times, and we may struggle really hard sometimes, and we may ask God why. But knowing and also reading our Bible to help us understand things that happen, and knowing that God has a huge plan for our life, and that losing a football game, getting injured, or just making this your whole life is not that big of a deal. I know it may be a big deal in the moment, but making that your whole life, and it's not always worth it whenever you have God and knowing that He's there with us.
Yeah, if you make cheer or any sport your whole life, you're definitely going to be disappointed.
Yes.
I mean, people have disappointments anyways, even as followers of God. But I think your perception is right. You know, there's a bigger picture where somebody that doesn't have Jesus, the disappointment is just so much more intense. There's no purpose behind it or anything, and it's really hard to move forward from it. And I mean, there's people that live in those disappointments forever versus the joy that they know, well, God's got a plan. What's next? What's the next adventure? And hopefully your next adventure will be next season in cheerleading.
Yes.
So, but you do before next season, got to finish this season and got to go to your state championship.
Yes.
Is it just the varsity going?
Yes, ma'am. I'm pretty sure it is. It is, ma'am. It's just the varsity. It's just a competition team. So,
wow. Yes. And that's 30 of you women all in the same dressing area. Oh, wait a minute. Times how many teams?
Oh, my word. Going against all of 3A, there's almost like 200 teams, I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
All around Texas. So, it's packed the last 3 years we've gone. It's crazy.
And y'all going to be sharing hotel rooms.
Yeah.
3-4 girls to a room, 1 bathroom, curling iron. So hopefully God will give you all some patience and mercy and grace for each other.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I'll be praying for that.
We'll be praying for that too for you.
Thank you.
So as I know, I ran at the high school. All the little signs are out there with all your names on them. So
yes,
we'll just walk by and pray for each one. Mercy and grace, have mercy and grace. Patience, give the coaches patience.
Yes.
Judges patience. So that's good. Well, I do want to thank you for coming in, sharing that, you know, what you're doing with cheer and how you're using it to just share Jesus. I know somebody besides your mom who would be really proud of you, and that would be Miss Judy when she hears this.
Yes.
About how your goal is just to do that no matter where you're at. So I'll have to make sure she listens.
Yes, God send it to her.
And then she'll be all excited when she hears her name in it too.
Oh, yes.
So we'll make sure we don't cut that out in editing.
Yes.
But I want to thank you so much for coming in and, you know, maybe check back in with us sometimes. Let us know how it's going. I'll be looking forward to seeing how you all do in state.
Of course.
And pray for a safe trip. Where is it at?
It's in Fort Worth at this conventions. I don't know what the name of it is, but it's like the convention center.
Yeah, I know where it's at. I'm even picturing it. I can't think of the name.
Yeah, I don't know, but somewhere over there.
But so not far. So you're kind of in home territory.
Yes.
So that's
definitely
amazing. Well, good luck with that, and keep staying strong in your walk with those girls, and not let the drama get you down when it happens. And if you're part of it, just remember God's got your back.
Always.
And just keep sharing.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for having me on here. I loved it. It's amazing.
Thanks for coming.
Yes, ma'am.